Hey, MCE crew, more money is going to be coming out of your pocket unless you take appropriate action. All right, these tax increases, please do not believe that it's only for the rich. Okay, we have gone over it ad nauseum. It's for the middle class. That's where the money is. All right, the money that you can actually access resides within the middle class. Why? Because a lot of people in the middle class work a W-2 job and they do not have the types of tax deductions and tax advantages that the wealthy have or business owners have. They're coming after you. And you've gone to the grocery store and picked up a pack of chicken wings for $9, so you know inflation is the other piece of this. It's the other half of this. Your money is being attacked from all ends. But guess what? You can do something about the tax piece. Legally, I don't want you to end up like Wesley Snipes. Take a name. Take a name, take a name. And it's the same thing that rich people are doing. I've talked about it before on the channel. But now it's getting some big time attention. We're going to go through this Bloomberg article and talk about one of the major ways rich people are saying, I ain't paying your taxes and I'm going to refrain from doing so legally. So let's get into what they're doing. And then, as we always do, we're going to show you how you can take a page out of their book and do the same thing, okay, to protect yourself. Because look, let me say this. We're spending trillions and trillions of dollars. You have got to understand that this money that we're spending as a nation, they're looking at you to pay that back. The national debt clock, okay? And if you look closely, you see here that your share of this astronomical figure that is rising steadily, your share of that as a taxpayer is over $200,000, okay? That's what they want from you in order to satisfy this gargantuan debt. So do you think taxes are going to be higher in the future or lower based on what we just saw? Okay, exactly. So we got to do something about that, man, or at the end of the day, we won't have any money left. We'll just be working to buy groceries and pay the government. So the very rich already have a plan to escape Biden's tax increase. Now, just be patient, because as we go through this, there are going to be some things that you're going to say, wait a minute, I don't have that kind of money. Stick with me. I'm going to show you exactly how you can do the same thing, okay, at a smaller scale. A strategy called private placement life insurance is a loophole. I hate when they use that word. It's not a loophole. It's a part of the tax provision. When they say loophole, they make it seem like something dirty, and they turn a lot of people off from using it. Rich people don't see this as a loophole. They know exactly what it is. It's an advantage that they have. This advantage is owned by you too. All right, so let's rewrite that. A strategy called private placement life insurance is an advantage, a legal advantage, that one policy expert says is entirely legal, easy to exploit, and politically very hard to close. So look, let's jump on board with these rich folk, do what they're doing. Wealthy Americans are scrambling for places to hide from plans by Democrats to hike their taxes. Many on Wall Street think they found just the thing. A niche strategy called private placement life insurance, or PPLI, was already gaining popularity among the very rich for its ability to shield fortunes from taxes. Now, some advisors to the top 0.1% say it's dominating conversations with their clients. So, we're talking about something that's being used by the top 0.1%, not the top 1%, 0.1. That means that this is definitely something that we ought to take a closer look at. The threat of higher taxes, what President Biden calls making billionaires and millionaires pay their fair share, isn't the only factor sparking interest in PPLI. A little noticed change in U.S. insurance law at the end of 2020 makes the tool more powerful. We talked about that. In one of the stimulus bills that came out of 2020, they made insurance a more valuable and more powerful financial tool. And why would they do that? Well, because the rich take care of their own, and they knew that by tweaking this just a little bit, it would make these insurance policies more powerful and more financially beneficial. Okay, so while some Americans are out there all wild about their Christmas club account and getting a new toaster from the bank, this is what the rich are doing. At the same time, that competition among insurance carriers and advisory firms is giving rich investors more flexibility, lower costs, and a wider choice of products on PPLI platforms. As long as assets are held in PPLI policies, they escape taxes. Now, this article is in Bloomberg, okay? It is being written for a specific audience, people with a lot of money, all right? You're not going to find this on your local evening news. But this sentence that they just used, as long as assets are held in a PPLI policy, they escape taxes. Guess what? The same is true. You can do the same thing. Maybe not with a PPLI, but I'll show you how you can get this done. Escape taxes. When a policyholder dies, heirs inherit the PPLI's contents tax-free. Okay, now you might be saying, oh, well, I'm dead and gone. I'm not enjoying it. Wait a minute. Those perks, strike at the heart of Biden's plan to get the very wealthy to pay more taxes on their investments, especially on capital gains that currently aren't levied if assets are held until death. See, so the government wants the money, man. Even when you die, they have an estate tax or a death tax, okay? It's incredible. Private placement life insurance poses a serious obstacle to President Biden's goal of guaranteeing that high-income individuals pay tax on large gains at least once per lifetime, said Daniel Himmel, a law professor at the University of Chicago, who's been talking with Democrats in Washington about ways to limit the strategy. Look at him. Look at him getting all up in the mix, trying to prevent people from holding on to their own money. A busybody professor. PPLI is a massive loophole. He's saying this, of course. Entirely legal, right? Easy to exploit and politically very hard to close. While more and more assets, let me say something about that, man. I have a good friend who's a professor, Professor Richard Vatz at Towson University. I love him to death. He understands the real world, but a lot of these professors don't, okay? They're sheltered. They got their tenure. They make money regardless. They actually make money exploiting a lot of these young students who think that a college education is the ticket to wealth after they incur tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of student loan debt. They found out otherwise. So that's this guy, okay? He's sheltered. He doesn't have to go out and really produce anything. He's just a theoretician. He just uses his big brain to try to prevent other people from maintaining their assets that they worked hard to build. While more and more assets are flowing into the PPLI strategy, it remains a slim slice of the trillions of dollars held in portfolios of the richest Americans. That just means that not a lot of them have caught on to it yet. They haven't had to, because we haven't had a situation where they're trying to tax everything under the sun. The American Council of Life Insurers, the industry's trade group, doesn't even track PPL policies. If Biden and Democrats are successful in passing a reconciliation bill that hikes taxes, the strategy may go more mainstream, at least among those with the most capital gains to protect from the Internal Revenue Service. All right, so I'm going to link to this, but what you'll find is that in addition to being able to pass on money to your heirs tax-free, you can also access that money. If done properly, you can access it tax-free. So you can put money away into these policies after taxes. Then that money will grow tax-free. You can access it, do whatever you want to with it. You don't need to ask for permission or have a situation where you're a certain age or anything like that. Now, the bare minimum you'll need to start a PPL policy is about $2 million. So you're saying now, Tyrone, why are you talking to me about this? I don't have $2 million. Well, that's the PPLI strategy. There are tons of other life insurance policies that operate just like this, but for people who have far less money. Okay. So you can use this exact same strategy to say, hey, taxes are going to be higher in the future than they are now, based on what we've seen from government spending, our current debt, what we owe or are obligated to pay as taxpayers. These taxes have to go up. I want to shield myself from future taxation. I want to be able to get the money whenever I want, liquidity, okay? And I want to be able to pass that money on to my heirs tax-free. And I want the money to grow tax-free. You can do all of that with an insurance policy. You cannot do that with a savings account. Can't do it with a CD. Can't do it with a savings bond or a checking account. You can do it with life insurance. And that is why these wealthy people are turning to life insurance to get around this, okay? And again, 100% legal. All right, let me leave you with this, because this is yet another example of how the rich take care of their own, okay? So if they're going to do that, then you need to be involved in different vehicles to the extent that you can that allow you to emulate as much as you can of, those characteristics that the wealthy display in terms of how they treat their money. All right. A COVID relief law signed by President Trump in December makes PPLI and insurance in general. Okay. I don't know who wrote this article, but they're focused on private placement life insurance, that really expensive option. But when they rewrote the rules at the end of 2020, it went for all insurance, not just PPLI. The package contained a provision that changes the interest rate assumption on life insurance policies. The politically powerful life insurance industry had argued the current rules were unworkable in a low interest rate environment. So Congress relaxed the requirement for policies to qualify for favorable tax treatment. I can guarantee you that 90%, I bet you a steak dinner, at least 90% of Congress has these types of policies to protect their wealth from taxes. So it made it easy for them. You didn't even hear about this in the news. They all agreed to it. It passed. It was no big deal, no debate. They knew they had to do it because their money was on the line. All right, and this is why I always tell you that there's more than one way to skin a cat. There's more than one way to build wealth. You pass the bank every day, all day. They're on almost every corner, so they're top of mind, but they're not really the place where you go to make money. They're where you go to if you need to borrow some money, okay? But in terms of making your money work, bank ain't it. Insurance companies, the buildings you hardly ever see or may have never seen, that's one of the places where you put your money to work for you. And anybody who says to you, well, insurance doesn't make any sense, they don't understand insurance, plain and simple, or they do understand it and they have a vested interest in some other financial product. Listen, our company sells insurance, but I'm going to talk to you about gold. I'm going to talk to you about stocks, bonds, real estate, the whole 9 yards, because coming at you with just what we're into would be, to me, malpractice. So you'll hear people say, well, insurance ain't it. You don't want to put, insurance is too expensive. Well, you are paying a cost for the insurance. If you drop dead, then the insurance company is on the hook for coming out of their pocket to pay a death benefit. Okay. And if that happens early in that policy, then they need to have recouped some of their cost. In exchange for that cost, they're guaranteeing you, as long as you pay, they're guaranteeing you and, well, your family a big benefit. Though lobbyists' primary goal was tweaking the rules affecting ordinary life insurance products, the upshot is that the wealthy can now put more money into the private placement life insurance policy while paying less to an insurance carrier for life coverage. So see, that's that cost of insurance. And again, as I was saying, it covers all of these types of permanent cash value policies. You want to maximize every dollar you can put into the policy, said David Kleinhandler, principal at life insurance advisory firm Ask West. There's a lot of opportunity for people to take advantage of these new regulations. So guys, We're always available to talk to you about this sort of thing. And we believe in that vehicle, among others, for building wealth. But you can see right here, the top 0.1%. So if some guy comes on TV and tells you that life insurance is not a good option for building wealth, transferring wealth, having liquidity, now you see they have no idea what they're talking about, because this is something that the top 1% in this country is keyed into. All right, guys, I will talk to you soon.